What we know from recent science is that children learn a lot from your own emotions. And often parents, I will speak as a parent myself, there's a lot of burden. And I don't know if any of you felt stress, very common feeling as a parent, worried, worried about getting it right, worried about feeling stress. And one thing you should know is that your own stress will interfere with your ability to model empathy and support the empathy of your children. What we know is that stress can interfere with the empathy. Think about any time that you have been stressed and quickly hurrying, that you haven't noticed the pain and suffering of another person. When you're stressed, you are so self-focused. It's our natural inclination to survive, to be self-focused because you have this impending doom or fear. That's really what stress is or anxiety, worrying about that. And you're hunkered down in very tunnel vision. And it's only when you can be less stressed and not have stress and lift up and be able to see people. And it is so much, if you even seeing your child, I think so importantly for parents to be able to see your child and to talk to them and to see them as someone who deserves that same kind of respect you would for an adult. So often we think that children, I think we categorize them as not understanding, and they have a very full emotional life. So I think, in talking about empathy and how do we promote empathy, so much of it is also a mindset of parents not seeing their children as self-centered and selfish, but really as these capable, competent humans who want to help others, who have an innate kindness and goodness, that we have to create the conditions that can surface instead of saying that we have to teach them. So one thing that I recommend very strongly is self-compassion. That it's a skill. In order to develop compassion in your children, you as a parent must practice self-compassion. That means really the ability to give yourself compassion, to give yourself a break, so to speak, and to be able to say, I can't be perfect. And think, one of the ways that Kristin Neff, who's one of the main researchers in self-compassion, talks when you're sort of overly critical of yourself, to think about how a good friend would talk to you to tell you not to be so hard on yourself. Now, why is self-compassion so important? Or why would you say stress can interfere with empathy? Well, what we know from recent science is that stress is contagious. Yes, like the common cold, like a flu, that even if you are not stressed, but you're among a small group of people who are highly stressed, you will catch it. And to examine this, we've done some research to look at stress contagion in the classroom setting. And what we did to examine this, we actually had teachers complete questionnaires about their own stress and burnout. And then to get the students' stress, we went and collected their saliva. Now, you might ask, why would you get their saliva? Because we were looking at the hormone cortisol. And what we know is cortisol is the stress hormone that we all have. It peaks about an hour after awakening, half an hour after awakening, and declines the rest of the day. And what we know is that when you're highly stressed, your cortisol stays up very high. And what we found was fascinating. And you could think about how it might apply to the family setting. Those teachers that reported the highest levels of stress and burnout had students with the highest levels of cortisol, indicative of high stress. So somehow there was a stress contagion in the classroom. Were the children coming into the classroom with higher levels of their own stress and the teacher was catching it? Were the teachers highly stressed and the students were catching it? Or some combination of the two? But really what this tells for you as a parent is that your children will catch your own stress. And they will not be able to behave empathically if they are seeing you all stressed. And you won't even be able to be empathic if you are highly stressed. So really think about the promotion of empathy also includes the reduction of stress and finding strategies to help promote that.